Hello and welcome to another video from Between the Ropes TV. Guys, today we're just going to talk about the Lewis Ritson and Dejan Zlaticanin fight card that happened. We're going to break that down and we're going to get straight into it. First of all, the main fight went the same way that I thought it would go. Lewis Ritson put on a dominant performance against Dejan Zlaticanin. In my opinion, he won all 10 rounds. This was very interesting. I didn't expect Ritson to box so fluidly. I thought Lewis would just put it on him, use his jab, because his jab's one of his most potent weapons. It's a real ramrod jab, and he can build his attacks from that. And it's very effective because it's almost like a backhand, and it offsets his opponents. It makes them rethink. It makes them reset. But what I liked about Lewis was I saw head movement in this fight, which I haven't seen for a number of years from Lewis. I saw footwork. Lewis would throw ones and twos and would be off. He would slip to his left. That was un-Ritson-like. I saw a lot of boxing from Lewis rather than just come forward aggression. I knew Lewis had that in him. We saw it as an amateur when he was up at or like middleweight as an amateur. Like 69 kilos. But as a professional, as he's come down in weight, he really has been aggressive and on the front foot. So we saw a lot of boxing ability that hadn't always been seen by Lewis. This is the kind of skill set he's going to need to be up against people like O'Hara Davies, Tyrone McKenna, Regis Prograis. If Lewis wants to advance, these are the skills he's going to have to hone and develop. But it was a great performance against really quite a tough competitor. We can't say Dejan Zlaticanin's finished just yet. Had he beat Lewis Ritson, everybody would have said, "Oh, Lewis was a bum," and it was. Some people are still saying it was a dangerous fight for Lewis, but Lewis came through with that. So it's onwards and upwards for him. It was a good performance, and like I said, he's ready for those big fights now. He's Horace Davis didn't show up. He was making noises that he was going to show up to the arena. He didn't, but Lewis can go on now. He can go on, get another win against those three names that I've mentioned. I think there's still some unfinished business in Britain at 140. Should he come over that, then I think he's in line to face somebody, probably Matthias over in the States for one of the belts that Josh Taylor will probably likely vacate. So it's really, really impressive by Lewis Ritson. The next fight I want to talk about has to be a contender for fight of the year, and it's that man again, Troy Williamson versus Mason Cartwright. Now, I did say that Mason would make it difficult for Troy early on, and he did. Mason showed a lot of good head movement. In fact, at some points, Mason was coming forward, the aggressor. Mason had a beautiful jab, beautiful fast hands. He would slip effectively. It felt as though in the early rounds, Mason could have missed with the left hand. He really couldn't. Because of how effective Mason's left hand was, Troy was very, very reluctant to throw the right hand because he knew he'd get caught by Mason. It just appeared that Mason was quicker, stronger, the bully. He just looked to be taking Troy apart. He made Troy look very, very slow, very, very sluggish. But it was a fight of two halves because I gave Troy round 4 and then I gave Mason round 5 after giving Mason 1, 2, and 3. He had the knockdown in round 2. Troy had round 6, and then it just seemed to be Troy winning the fight after that. Troy got back on his jab. As I noticed, as the fight wore on towards the middle rounds, Troy couldn't miss with a jab and he was slowing Mason down. And that was the way to beat Mason because Mason's head kept staying on the centre line. And then once he got into his rhythm and his range with his jab, his backhand came into play. And once his backhand came into play, Mason was a sitting target. But we've got to give credit to both guys because both guys showed tremendous grit and a tremendous chin and tremendous heart. It was a terrific fight. It really, really was. And I had it 114, 113, and Troy, winning it by a round. It was a great fight. Mason can come again. I thought Mason would get stopped before the fight, and during the fight, I thought Mason would get stopped, but he completely proved me wrong. And I'm happy to come on here and say that. great performance by Troy. Good performance as well by Mason. You know, it was no disgrace in the manner that he lost, and he can definitely come again. You know, he heard him after the interviews. He was saying that he's game and he can come again. And if you think about it carefully, there's been loads of terrific battles at that particular weight class. We've just had Smith Fowler. That was a great battle. Albeit Fowler's moved up, but Fowler had a great battle with Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald had a great battle with Ted Cheeseman. Ted Cheeseman's had 3 or 4 terrific battles. And, you know, you still got people like JJ Metcalf in that mix. Kieran Conway's in that mix as well. So it's really, really interesting for Troy. You might see him having 2 or 3 of these battles with British fighters at 154 before he decides to move on to European honours. But 2 more defences of that British title and he gets to keep it outright. So why not? Why not? The only thing I would say to counter that is Troy's he's 30, so he's getting on an age. So he may just be thinking, look, I'm going to just go for the push on, go for the Commonwealth and European. But best of luck to him. Best of luck to both fighters. It was a terrific fight. The other fight I want to review was the Pat McCormack debut. There's a lot of hype around Pat McCormack, and understandably why. Don't get me wrong, this fight isn't going to be a fight that tells people that, you know, he's a superstar, he's going to be the next Canelo, like Richard Schaefer says. But it's a start of a journey for Pat McCormack, one that is going to take him, in my opinion, to the very top. I've seen enough about him as an amateur in the ABAs, as it was called then, European tournaments, world tournaments, the Olympics, to know that this kid's got everything that you need. It's the same with his brother Luke. These kids are just special talents. As I said before on the channel, I don't like judging prospects when they've had less than 10 fights, because the likelihood is they haven't faced the different styles and the different scenarios that can present them in the ring later on. So you don't know how they're going to adapt. But Pat McCormack's somebody that I've seen for many years. And I genuinely believe this kid's destined to the top. So the debut was just an inevitability. The way it ended, first round KO. The body shot was beautiful. But he's got all the ability in the world. Whether he fulfills Richard Schaefer's prediction that he's going to go on the same path as Canelo, I'm not too sure. I think that's way too early to say. But Pat McCormack is definitely going to be headlining top shows in the Northeast for years to come. I can guarantee you that. I also want to talk about a couple of other fights on the card as well, because it was a big card up here. First of all, I want to talk about Joe Laws. Joe Laws lost. He lost against a journeyman that lost 28 times and hadn't won for a while. I knew Joe Laws was in trouble once his journeyman started to come forward on the front foot with his hands down and started to slip punches like it was Roy Jones. It's difficult for Joe Laws because he wanted to do so well, because he's a likable guy, he's a character, he sells a hell of a lot of tickets, and he's terrific on social media. But it's back to the drawing board for Joe. If he wants to be on these shows, if he wants to be in the mix at his weight class, in my opinion, he's fighting at the wrong weight class. I think he's probably too small for his welterweight. I mean, if Ryan Charlton can get himself down to lightweight after beating him at welterweight, that says it all for me. I like to think that there's something there for Joe, but on a performance like that, it's going to be difficult for him. It really is. But I want to see him back because he's a big ticket seller. His fans bring a hell of a lot of noise, and it just makes a massive difference for TV having Joe Laws on the card. But with performances like that, it's probably not going to happen. That's me being honest. So I'd say Joe Laws back to the drawing board, go all over, get your sparring in, dedicate yourself, try and move down a weight or even 2 if possible, because I think he'd be massive and strong at 140, and he can really assert himself in his opponents. The fighting style he's adopting now isn't working on men that are bigger and stronger than him, and he's not showing that he's got the boxing ability to circumvent that. So he's going to have to move down a weight or 2. I also want to talk about Ben Reese because I was really looking forward to seeing this kid's debut. It was unlucky how it ended. Ben started off brightly on his debut. Ben Reese, he's again another terrific amateur from the Berkeley Amateur Boxing Club. Ben, sadly, his debut ended on a technical draw because there was an accidental clash of heads. It was a clash of style. Ben's a southpaw. His opponent who was a last-minute replacement from Sunderland, was an orthodox fighter, and they clashed heads, and he got caught on the inside, just there where my finger is. That's nasty. When you always get cut there, it doesn't end. It doesn't end well. The doctors always stop it because the blood just pours straight into the eye. You can't see. It's absolute disaster. It's probably going to take him a bit of time to recover, but I think it could be useful for Ben. He can calm down, get patient. Technically, he's had his debut. He's got it out of the way. He can relax now, and we can see the best of Ben Reese. So I'm looking forward to his next outing, which will be obviously in a few months. A great win for Joe Maforsa as well. I want to shout out Joe Maforsa. Terrific win. Joe Maforsa, look out for the super flyweight guys from Middlesbrough. He's a real big talent. He boxes beautifully. Another good win for Thomas Patrick Ward. Hopefully now you get that title eliminator because as a big fan of Thomas Patrick Ward, he's a terrific, beautiful orthodox boxer. I want to see him now in an eliminator, final eliminator for a world title or world title fight now. When you've had 33 fights, how many more do we need to see him in these 10 rounders, these interim fights? He needs to be having that final eliminator for the world title now. So yeah, guys, that's it. It was a great card. It was a pleasure to be there, see the fights, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe at the channel, and join us for more reactions to the fights this weekend from Leeds and also on the Boxer Show. Take care, guys.